Welcome to the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richheimer. We are bonding forever, right? It's the best. Okay, here we go. And we are on page Marriage Secrets, page 307 at the bottom. Be available. Okay, it's so easy to get caught up in what we are doing that we fail to even notice that our husband has walked in the door. And with all the page isn't turning. Hello. And with all the myriad things we are juggling, dropping everything so we can hear about our husband's incident at work or shul may feel aggravating. But know that your availability, especially when it is least convenient for you, will build bonds between you like nothing else will. It's fine to say on occasion, can you give me 2 minutes and then you'll have my full attention? But for the most part, being available expresses in crystal clear terms that your husband is the most important person in your life, and there is nothing more important to you. We need to recognize our own bad habit of letting our busyness get in the way of our being close to our husband. There is the issue of urgent versus important. So if you are in the middle of doing something urgent, even though your husband is more important, if dropping it is difficult, then give a clear time frame of when you will be available. It's important to realize that being available means getting closer to your husband, which may actually cause one to feel too vulnerable. It may feel like you are opening yourself up to rejection and you don't trust that you won't be rejected. Just go super slow. Also, if your husband drops bombs like bills that weren't paid or a bad or stressful news in the middle of your day, you may request that he choose a better time. But make every attempt not to use this tactic too often, or you'll feel that you are never there for him. Many times it is best to just be silent, listen, and then reflect, plan, and take the time to handle it well. Often you will have to subjugate your own ego and let things go his way. This will draw him close. And humbling yourself is often good for your own ego. If there are still many control issues, perhaps they should be dealt with by a trained professional, but in a good, healthy relationship, subjugating your ego usually creates closeness. The bottom line is we are all tempted to be fixated on our own agenda. And that strategy is very good for accomplishing a great deal, but it also tends to push those we love away from us. If we are willing to sacrifice a little of our accomplishments, we can draw our husband closer to us. Once you start paying attention to how to bond, you will see that you have a dozen choices every day to either bond or disconnect. Just recognizing these choices is the first step to bonding more and disconnecting less. Okay, manage your moods. Sometimes everything bothers us. We walk around in a silent rage, angry at the world and how ill-behaved everyone around us is. Many people use this mood as an excuse to lash out at anyone in their path. But if we're smart, we realize that we're the one with the problem. Maybe we haven't had enough sleep. Maybe we're hungry. Maybe we're feeling overwhelmed by life. But the answer is to rest or eat, not to take your frustrations out on the world. The only way to get beyond a bad mood is to be big enough to recognize that it might be your bad attitude, not the actions of the people around you, that is causing you to see everything in a negative light. You need to do an attitude check and then make adjustments to make sure you have the best possible chance of success. Here are some tools you can use to check and adjust your attitude. A foolproof way to check whether a mood problem exists externally or internally is to take a nap. See if that changes your view of the world. This is a guaranteed way to improve your mood. If that isn't practical, the next best thing is to envision taking a nap and considering whether that would help you to see things in a more positive light. Just the exercise of questioning whether it's an internal or external issue will help you to shift your attitude from one of attack to one of self-reflection. It will help you to be careful not to jump down someone's throat when the problem truly might be your own bad mood. The more we take responsibility for what's going on in our life, the more power we feel to do something about it. If we blame others, then we end up always feeling like the victims of circumstances beyond our control, a very disempowering feeling. Another trick to get yourself in a good mood is to unwind or distract yourself. For some people, that means exercising or working on a hobby. For others, that might mean shopping, seeking entertainment, or listening to music. Learn to recognize when you're in a bad mood and see what works to get you out of it. Many people use their bad mood as a way to lash out at others and feel justified in avoiding responsibility for their own bad behavior. But you are still responsible for being a mensch. even if you're in a bad mood. If you can't control your mood, then stay away from people until you can. There is never an excuse, even once, for slipping up and taking it out on someone else. If you make this mistake, you need to do tshuva, to repent and apologize to your victim. People often use a bad mood as an excuse to act hurtfully to others. They feel perfectly justified in letting their bad mood wreak havoc in their homes without even realizing they are the ones at fault. We all need to find constructive ways to deal with anger and frustration, but there is no excuse for acting cruel. We must be better masters over ourselves than that. It's often helpful to let family members know that you are in a bad mood. Of course, if you use this excuse consistently, it's too big of a burden to expect them to tiptoe around you all the time. But just by letting them know, you take the pressure off yourself to be perfect, and that in turn can help ease you out of your bad mood. With trial and error and determination, you can learn what works for you to get yourself on the other side of a bad mood. This is crucial to feelings of love and closeness in your home. It's also important to take care of your own mental health. If you are depressed or even think you are depressed, don't put off therapy. Make it a priority in your life so that you can spend your time bonding, not pushing away. For depression, there are 5 practical tips that may help you. Go to sleep and wake up at the same time every day. Make sure to eat 3 meals each day. Get 10 minutes of sun per day. Get at least 10 minutes of exercise per day, and make an appreciation notebook. Try this routine for a few weeks. It can really make your future look brighter. Many women put themselves at the bottom of their priority list. Taking care of your health is one of the most impactful ways of taking care of your husband and your family. But most importantly, by managing your moods, you can enjoy life more, which is precisely what the Ribono Shel Olam wants. Okay, ladies, what you got for me, Gila?
Question coming from Abby, and she's asking, I'm not a morning person, and I've explained this to my husband so many times, but he still complains about it and wishes I were different. I would love to be happy and energetic in the morning, but it's just not in my genetic code. Since I've already warned him about this midah of mine, and I've already tried to work on it, but haven't gotten far, what else can I do?
Have a sign made and hold it up, and that says, don't forget, I'm not a morning person. It would be nice if you could think of a humorous way to continually get the message across to him if he's not getting it.
Leah, they have those coffee mugs that say, don't talk to me yet. Almost there. Like,
yeah. I'm ready. As you're drinking down the coffee, I'm ready. Yeah. Something like, do a humorous mood of it. So that would be one thing, is try and find something, and you can ask him, what can I do that would make you laugh about it, But then also, I would also work on this, because a lot of times people wake up in a grouchy mood because they went to bed at 1:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? It's like, they're really not getting the amount of sleep that they need. And also, or they're looking at their task lists before they go to bed. So everything's swarming around in their head. They don't take any quiet time, head to bed at 10 and and fall asleep by 11. So in that hour, they're processing, they're just calming themselves down. So sleep hygiene could make a big change. It maybe, maybe not, but I think there's a better than 50-50 chance that better sleep hygiene, going to bed at the same time every night, waking up at the same time every morning, approximately, by 15 minutes either direction, but not like one night you stay up till 3, the next night you go to bed at 10:30, then, like that. So sleep hygiene could probably improve the situation. Humor in the morning with your husband could improve the situation, and just talking about it and saying, I keep telling you I wake up grouchy and I keep feeling like you're shocked by it. Is there anything I can do that can help you to realize the reality of our life without you being upset about it or taking out on me or anything like that? And, and see if he has any good ideas or suggestions that might help. But I would start with sleep hygiene. And if that's going, then try the other things. But sleep hygiene is huge for waking up in a good mood or not. Okay, good. What else you got for me, Gila?
Okay, so Michal's asking, my husband reaches out to me at times he knows I'm busy, and then he gets upset when I'm not immediately there for him. What does he expect from me?
So just newsflash. There is never a time when someone comes to you and you're just relaxing, doing nothing, playing mahjong, you're either reading a book or doing in the middle of 14 different tasks and multitasking and cooking dinner or whatever. You're usually doing a million things. So we have this fantasy that he comes at us the wrong time. Ladies, it is always 100% of the time when your husband comes to you or when a child comes to you, it's always the wrong time. There's never a time when you're doing nothing, okay? I know you because I'm a woman also, okay? And so the first thing we have to recognize is that there's never, ever a good time. And what we have to recognize is that there's a inverse relationship between accomplishing and connectivity, being connected to someone and accomplishing. And we're in the middle of accomplishing and someone comes and tries to connect with us, it decreases our accomplishment. And our whole society is based on accomplishing as much as humanly possible and more and more and more. So that's where our status comes from. That's where our self-esteem comes from. That's where we feel like we're accomplishing things. And when we have to break that to connect with someone for something dumb. Do we have a tweezer? Hey, where's I bought some ketchup. Where is it? It's right there. And there's never a time when it's not interrupting what we're doing in the middle of doing. So knowing that puts the burden on you to drop everything for particularly your husband. Your kid, you can say, oh, wait a minute, whatever. And you can say that to your husband every once in a while. But for the most part, if you're right in the middle of something and you just have to hit send or otherwise you forget and whatever, you can say, oh, just give me 1 minute, and then really be 1 minute come, but knowing that it is never a good time changes the whole dynamic for you realizing, oh, this is my opportunity to either disconnect and push my husband away, or it's my opportunity to bond with him and to be there for him when he needs me. And don't expect it to be the other way around. You might say to your husband, oh, can you, whatever. He says, oh yeah, I'll be there in a minute. And 10 minutes later, can you come? Oh yeah, I'll be there in a minute. And this goes on for 3 hours, so it's not fair. The life isn't fair. I get it or whatever. But for you to take the responsibility that it's never a good time and that, oh yes, my overall reaching goal in life is to be close to my husband, is to be close to my family members, is to be close to my friend who always calls in the middle of the wrong time, whatever. It's never a good time. And my overall goal is to be close to these people. So I'm going to forego when they reach out to me, I'm going to be there for them. Doesn't mean you can't have boundaries, by the way. Very important to have boundaries. Say, I don't take phone calls during dinner. I'm so sorry. I don't, in the morning, I'm having my cup of coffee and I'm catching up on the news or whatever you're doing. I'm reviewing my notes for the class I'm going to teach, whatever. I can't be disturbed. You need boundaries. But you also, the whole idea to connect is that it's never a good time. And knowing that means ease up on it. Recognize you want what you truly want more than anything is connection. And sometimes that trumps accomplishing. Okay, very good question. Keep them up, guys. info@ladiestalkshow.com. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, we got some good questions here. So Hannah's asking, how can I remember to put my husband's needs first before our kids when my kids are incapable of helping themselves? The example I always think of is breakfast. My husband likes a very specific breakfast and he can wait, whereas my kids are hungry right away. So I always tend to them first. Is this wrong?
Yes. No. What's the next question?
Resounding yes.
Yes. Hello. Yeah. What if your husband, you say you want to play Bananagrams or some game, that you like or whatever. And the kids come and say, oh, Daddy, can you play Chutes and Ladders without me? Or what? Is that what it's called? Chutes and Candyland? Okay, Candyland. I want to play Candyland. You say, okay, dear, excuse me, I'm going to play Candyland with them. And then we'll, your second, you would feel like, excuse me, you'd feel bad. It's the same thing. Look. Is it your job to make him breakfast? Arguably, let's have an argument about this, ladies. Okay. I don't know, but let's say it is. Let's say you made a deal. He works full time or he learns full time or whatever, and you make him breakfast every day. And for the most part, that's a role that, is connected. But I'm not going to fight with it because I was told by a Rav, I said, this doesn't seem right. They're making what he said. And he said, don't bring it up. So I'm not bringing it up. But in any case, I'm talking about duties because it's changed over generations and there's issues that come up because of it. So I'm not going to get into that, but I am telling you that if your job is to make your husband breakfast, think how he feels. The kids can't wait. They can wait. They can probably wait and not eat breakfast and have lunch. You know what I'm saying? This is mommy's time is making dad. You wait till I've fed daddy. When daddy's eaten, what lesson do you think that gives the kids? It gives the kids that they're more important, that daddy is more important to mommy than they are, which is correct. It should be. And some people, I love my kids so much. Shouldn't I love them more than my husband? If that's how it is, it's upside down. And you need to rectify that, particularly before your kids graduate and go off to whatever and go to seminary and learn or whatever they're doing. And you're stuck at home with this guy who has always been second fiddle your whole life. Good luck with that. So, but I'm just saying, what message, if you were to cook your husband dinner breakfast first and they had to wait, okay? It teaches them he's the king of the household. He's the most important person in the household, which he is, even more than you. That's just a chazal, okay? And take it or leave it. No, don't leave it. What I meant to say is it might be hard to hear, but if a person says there's one king in the house, it's my husband, I'm the queen, that there is so much blessing that comes from that, that it overrides any of the anti-feminist, all of that stuff, all the politics and feminist, which I'm not anti-feminist, all of that is put on the side when you're happy. You know what I'm saying? If you get the closeness you want and you get the comfort you want and you get the connection you want, okay, so it's not fair. It's all these other things that have been trying to brainwash. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. The point I'm trying to make right now is if you make your husband the first and you cook his breakfast first, right? And your kids have to wait, guess what? When your kids are teenagers, right? And they're going through their rebellious stage and their brain, basically someone in the middle of the night takes their brain out and puts in something else, which is like, who are you? But anyway, okay, when that happens, if you have spent 10 years putting your husband first and making him, letting them see that you think he's the king, you've respected him. Respect is granted, never earned. And you respected him no matter what. And you appreciated him and thanked him for all the bracha that he brings into the home, which is 100% of the bracha brought into the home. Watch some of the other shows to understand all of these little references I'm making, because then you'll be like, oh, it's good. But anyway, so if you're hearing this the first time, you're like, what is she talking about? But anyway, watch some of the other shows first. But I just want to point out, if you have spent 10 years making your husband king, making him breakfast first, respecting him, greeting him at the door, when your kids lose their mind and when they become teenagers, okay, they're going to look up to him. They're going to have somebody an authority figure that they feel like is greater than themselves. And that gives them such a comfort, such a safety that there's a wall there, that when they're bouncing off the wall, there's a wall. A kid who whose father has been removed by the mother, by her undermining him and putting him down and tearing him apart, they start bouncing off the wall. There's no wall. They're just bouncing everywhere. So I'm just telling you, yes, the woman can be strong for the kids through their lifetime, but there's nothing like a dad that can help in that time. And so a woman is actually shooting herself in the foot when she's treating her husband, like shmata and undermining his authority and his power. Good to know. So the take-home message for you is make your husband the breakfast first. Train the kids, teach them how we take care of Tate first. He's the most important person in the home. Okay, good luck with it. I know a lot of what I've said might be harsh to hear, but if you ease that in and try from experiments, try a little of it, whatever. If you try this at home, I think you'll find there's a shift in the home where the kids are more obedient because things are as they should be. And it gives them a strength when the mommy is treating the husband like a king. Okay. What's next?
Okay, great answer. Orit's asking, I try so hard to make myself available for my husband, but he prefers to speak to a friend on the phone than to speak to me. I've told him I find it hurtful. Do I need to change, or does he?
Probably both, but I would imagine his friend is telling him, you're wonderful, you're great, where you're saying, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. Potentially, that could be the problem. I don't mean to blame the victim here. I'm saying I get your problem and I'm sorry, because I'm sure that's a little bit painful. for the most part, women talk more to each other than men do. Like a woman will, and then he said this, and then I felt that, and then whatever. And a man is usually like, "How are you doing? Good. How are you? Good. Want to watch the game? Or whatever. It's like okay, well, hopefully, or want to learn some Gemara. Okay, whatever. But I'm just saying that. So, but if he's going to get his emotional needs met with his friend, maybe his guy friend is giving him more. What's the word I'm looking for? More compassion. So I would up your compassion level, but I would also talk to him about it and say, when we got married, I felt more like I was going to be your closest confidant, and I'm feeling a little. You can even say I'm feeling, if it's true, I'm feeling a little jealous that is there something I'm doing that makes you not want to talk more to me? Although that. Maybe he'll think he would have a hard time answering that, or he'd feel badly answering it honestly. And if he did answer it honestly, maybe it would hurt your feelings. So maybe I'm taking this back. Let me just think out loud for a sec.
Yeah, what if it's something like financial that he just think his friend knows more about than his wife?
It could be, but there's something in the way she asked the question that made me feel like it was
his personal issues.
He was it was an emotional connection he was having with his friend that he
Right.
wasn't having with her, which can be painful. So, I would deeply, I would perhaps not confront him, not put him on the defensive. Think about this for a month before you do it. Write journals, write notes to yourself. How am I going to handle this? What would I say? No, that will make him feel this way. No, that'll make him feel defensive. No, I shouldn't say this. Very thoughtfully think about how to say it in a way that he can really hear. You know him better than anyone on the planet. How's that for a reality check? So, think about what you could say that would have him open up to you. Because having a conversation with somebody about how to you're wanting him to open him up about not opening up. So it's a little bit of a challenge. If you think you need a third party, a Rebbitzin rabbi, therapist, a professional to come in, a coach, somebody to come in and help mediate that situation, that the conversation, that might be helpful in this case. I don't know what the exact issue is. If it is the issue that I'm thinking it is, which is that he's emotionally connecting with his friend and he's not doing it as much with you, that might need a third party. If it's like Gila said, if it's just financial matters, then you can probably handle that because there's no emotion attached. Okay, good. Do we have time for another question?
Yeah, we have time for two more questions.
Okay, good.
So Gitsy's asking, my husband and I both tend to be negative. So it's been hard for us to fight this natural midah of ours because we feed off each other. How can we become more optimistic when neither of us can inspire the other?
Good question. I mean, it could be that you read a Sefer together where you study midos, you study character traits of having a good outlook in life, because there are many sources that if you have a good attitude or a good outlook, or you see things gamzlatov, you see things from a good, you see with a good eye, that things will be good. Think good and it will be good. There's a very, very ancient truism that from Chazal that gives us strength. So it could be reading a book together and learning it together, either just the two of you or getting a rabbi or probably a rabbi to teach it over to you. Maybe start a group in a class in your home and invite other people or something like that in the neighborhood or something like that. Learning why to have a good attitude and how to have a better attitude and how to shift that might be the strongest way for you to do that. It could be that, there might be books that talk about having toxic mindset or, whatever. And that would help do that also. I'm not sure what might be available, but the bottom line is this is definitely something you can work on together. And it's probably the source of the motivation. The source of the information is likely outside of yourselves, because, as you said, both of you aren't good at it. So I wish you hatzlacha. It's a worthwhile thing for you guys to work on. I'm impressed. Okay, go ahead, Gila. What you got?
Okay. Gabby's asking, how can we slow down and not always be doing a million things? I'm always so overwhelmed by my never-ending to-do list.
Right. Okay. This is welcome to the world. Yes, welcome to my life. Yeah, this is a very, very challenging thing for our generation. And I heard of Godel say to me once, he said, I'm trying to remember who said it and when it was, but it was maybe a decade ago, about your to-do list, that we make a list for ourselves in the morning that has, like, 30 things on it or 15 things on it. And we go to bed and hit our pillow sad that we didn't connect all 15. We didn't do all 15 things. So at the beginning of the day, you've got your list of 15, circle 3 that you're going to for sure do. At least you go to the pillow and you feel, so that could be part of it, is just reducing the stress on yourself of having to do everything, and also acknowledging and patting your goof on the back for what you did accomplish, and limiting that, so that's part of it. The other thing is, I think that there's a race to make as many different kugels and dishes on Shabbos as possible. It's like we see these things in the magazines with all these things we're supposed to be doing, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, where really for Shalach Manas you need two foods finish, and you need to give two to two people, and we're busy making 48, and one's for the classes, and one for our kids, one for the neighbors, one, like that. So we push ourselves way, way more. There's a competition for accomplishment, and it's, very interesting. And this lady from Israel, what does she do in the day? She takes care of her children. I mean, and her husband first, and then her children. And like all this other stuff, like she doesn't have a printer. She has a flip phone. She doesn't have, news. She doesn't, nothing. It's just like this really beautiful life. And is she accomplishing a lot? She's accomplishing everything, but we're so in this modern society of, materialism and emotional needs and self-care. We're caught up with a lot of things that if we had to, unfortunately, I saw somebody get very sick, and all of their projects just stopped, and it was a lesson to me of, like, yes, I want to, just like the next person, I want to do as many mitzvahs in my lifetime as I possibly can. I want to cram them in there. I want to, do as much good as I possibly can till 120. Alavai. Okay. I want that. Same as you. But we put a whole lot of other stuff on ourselves, like, we're for Shabbos, this gets it, to our own detriment. So I'm not saying that they're to drop everything off your to-do list. I'm saying things that are there that don't need to be there, jettison, just jettison. We're driven to accomplish. That's a goyish welt, Yeah, no, we're driven to do mitzvahs, but the accomplishments, the pride of having a better, car, or, there. Anything you can see, and you're looking at what your life looks like, maybe write it down. Anything that you see that doesn't have to be, that God could care less about. He doesn't care what kind of car you drive, right? But let's say you care about that, and you're working extra hours to be able to buy the fancier car or whatever. I'm making a funny example, but I'm just saying, anything you can see on your task list that is from outside, that God wouldn't be happy for, that other people say you should feel, try and jettison them. Okay, I think we're out of time. This is Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. Let me give you your homework. One time this week, when you are in a bad mood, communicate it in a way that the other person can hear it without feeling disconnected, that they can still feel close to you. Okay, this is Leah Richheimer. We'll see you next time.